Hello all students, grade 10. I hope this video find all students well, where we are going to study a small part from the chapter 3 is energy flow. First of all, let's start with a small part from the last period about population and ecosystem. So I remember you a small information for population and also ecosystem. Population, that means a group of organisms of one species living in the same area. So focus with me. Ecosystem, a unit containing all of the organisms and their environment interacting together. So you must make differences between two parts. Number one, ecosystem and population. Population, that means a group of organisms, maybe plants, maybe animals, that found in the same area at the same time. Ecosystem, that means the place, unit containing two parts, two things. First part, organism and their environment, and also interacting with together in a given area. Example for this point, decomposing log and also river community. And you must focus about this point, population of different species in an ecosystem. Different species, before explained this point, maybe plant, maybe animal that found in the same area at the same place. Let's move on another part, food chain and food web. Food chain, a diagram showing the flow of energy. Today, I start with you. I'll start to explain small parts for the food chain and food web. Also have three kinds: food chain, food web, and also pyramid. Let's move on from the first part. Food chain, that means diagram showing the flow of energy from one organism to the next, beginning with the producer. You must check this point with me on the figure. Example for food chain, such as these examples. The first example, corn, rat, and owl. Corn, rat, and owl. You must focus with me. This energy transfer from the plant to rat to owl. So simple figure, simple pictures that illustrate the energy flow from the plant to animals, from the organism to another. And another example for carrots, rabbit, fox, lion. So another example illustrate the energy flow from the plant to animals. And the last, the end example that illustrate grass, grasshopper, frog, python, and also eagle. So these examples for food chain that illustrate the energy flow, the transfer of energy from plant to animals, from organism to another. You can say simple figure, simple pictures, simple form that illustrate energy flow from the plant, from the animals to another, from the plant to another. These example for food chain. Let's move on another part for the food web, the second form that illustrate energy flow in the environment. A network. This means another meaning for food chain. Food chain, more food chains that combine with together to produce food web. Check this figure that have two parts on the right side and on the left side. On the right side, that includes more examples from food chains, such as corn, rat, owl, and also carrots, rabbit, fox, lion, and also grass, grasshopper, frog, python, and eagle. On the left side, that illustrate the more food chains from the sun, primary, secondary, tertiary consumer, and all these food chains that combined all these example, or these food chains that includes, that combine with together to produce food web. So this figure illustrate one kind, one example from food web that illustrate energy that transfer from the sun to the plant to another animal, to another plants, to another organisms. So you must make differences between them, food chain and food web. And also make differences between them that illustrate on the right side that simple figure and also this complex example that illustrate energy flow. Let's move on another part that have more key definitions for producer and also consumer. Producer, that may be the one organism such as the plant that can make own food through photosynthesis by sun, by the light energy from the sun. Producer, an organism that makes its own organic nutrients, usually using energy from sunlight through photosynthesis. So you must understand this point and make differences between producer and consumer. Producer, an organism can make own food from photosynthesis such as plant, and the consumer, an organism that gets its energy by feeding on other organisms. So consumer have more kinds. Before, check the two figures below, herbivores and carnivores. Herbivores and also carnivores. Herbivores, you can say these animals that only eat plants. These animals that only eat plants, such as the pictures below, and also on the right side, check this figure below, that carnivores, fox, wolf, shark, lion, all these animals only eat another animals. So this kinds from consumer, and check this figure, that consumer and producer. Producer, that's kind of plant that make own food from the sunlight and also use one process called photosynthesis. And also consumer, that one can say other kind from the animals that produce energy from other animals, that can eat energy from other animal, such as herbivore, carnivore, that only eat plant, grasshopper, and also carnivores, these herbivores only eat plant, and also omnivores only eat animal, only eat another organism. So you must check this figure about herbivores and the carnivores, and herbivores organism that gets its energy by eating plants. Eating plants, that herbivore, and the carnivore by eating another animals. Also you can say another way and another meaning, that it's only meats. So this herbivore and also carnivore. Let's on another part for trophic level. Check this point with me to understand this point. This is an example for food chain. This you can say simple figure, and also this arrows that illustrate the energy flow, and also that illustrate the place of the trophic level. Each one place in the food chain. Food chain have more places, have more position, called trophic level. Trophic level. Trophic levels for each kind from the animal or plant that found in food chain or food web, and also pyramids. So producer, consumer, herbivore, carnivore, and also trophic level. Let's move on another part for the energy losses. To understand the energy transfer from plant to animal, and they found more energy losses. Much energy losses that in many ways, such as respiration, also organisms eats other, and also digestive enzyme. I explain each part to understand. Respiration, that means which some energy is lost. Understand respiration process that found in the organisms. So gas exchange and also energy losses through this process as heat energy. And also when organism eat another, that you can say it rarely. Don't eat all parts of body, but leave a small part, so that found more energy losses from the eating of this organism. And also digestive enzyme that found inside the organism don't break all the molecules, so a small part of molecules such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and leave another parts, so energy losses from these organisms. And the third form from energy flow inside the environment, pyramids. Pyramids that have two kinds. This form illustrates more things, such as numbers of organisms that found in each level, and also that illustrate mass of organisms. So have two types from pyramids. Number one, that show that tree provide foods for 400 giraffes, as in this figure. So, and another figures that illustrate that each box represents the mass of each kind. You must compare between two figures, that types of pyramids that illustrate. First one, that explain the numbers of organisms in each box, and also the second, that illustrate the mass of organisms such as plants and animals in each box in the pyramids. Let's move on another part about decomposers, that organisms that found in the environment and they have important role in the environment. So decomposers, key definition: an organism that gets its energy from dead bodies, from, you can say, dead plants, dead animals that have more substances such as nitrogen, carbon, and also more molecules. So decomposers that can release more substance that trapped in the dead bodies of plants and animals, and also so that they can be used, all this substance for such as plants, such as animals, can use all this that back to the air, back to the soil again by decomposers.